help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. In this world, there's...
Wait a minute! Who are you?
قلبي ناداك وتمناك تبقى انت ويايا بعد سنين شوق وحنين انا لك هنا معايا ضمني ليك ده انت حبيبي حياتي ليك.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to our lecturer Dr. Nazri. Today, my group will present our topic that's named the understanding individual behavior. As we see at the slide, there are three learning objectives that we can get and learn from this chapter. First, identify the focus and goal of organization behavior. We must know the working environment are different while at university, so we need to change our attitude according with our words. Secondly, explain the role that attitude play in the job performance. Every company has their own policies and attitude for achieve the mission and vision. And lastly, describe different personality theories. In this chapter, our group will tell you what is personality theories. So basically, personality is the attitude and action according to the situation and pace. So if you want to know about this chapter, stay tuned.
11.1 Organizational Behavior. Organizational behavior is the study of group and individual performance in an organization. This study examines human behavior in a work environment and determines its impact on job structure, performance, communication, motivation, and leadership. Organizational behavior can be divided into two aspects. The first aspect is visible aspect. The visible aspect includes strategies, objectives, structure, technology, formal authority, chains of commands, and policies procedures. The second aspect is hidden aspect. The hidden aspects includes attitudes, perceptions, group norms, informal interaction, interpersonal and intergroup conflicts. Goals of organizational behavior. First and foremost is employee productivity. Employee productivity is an assessment of the efficiency of a worker or group of workers. Productivity may be evaluated in terms of the output of an employee in a specific period of time. Secondly is absenteeism. Absenteeism refers to the habitual non-presence of an employee at his or her job. The third one is turnover. Turnover is an accounting concept that calculates how quickly a business conducts its operations. The fourth one is organizational citizenship behavior, OCB. OCB is a term that's used to describe all the positive and constructive employee actions and behavior that are not part of their formal job description. The fifth one is job satisfaction. Job satisfaction refers to a person's feeling of satisfaction on the job, which acts as a motivation to work. The last one is workplace misbehavior. Workplace misbehavior is any intentional employee behavior that is potentially harmful to the organization or individuals within the organization.
11.2 Role that attitude play in job performance. What is attitude? Attitude is a statement of judgment. Assessment is made after based on a person respond to something. For example, the way he solve a problem, the way he thinks, the commitment given in completing the task. Attitude can be divided into three parts. First, cognitive component. This occurs in the mind of the employees. Here will be born attitudes such as beliefs, opinion, and knowledge. Second, affective component. This is when consciousness is focused and emotion are aroused by this thought. Employee will have a high level of active commitment, then the chances of an employee staying with the organization for long are high. Third, behavioral component. This is the final product of an attitude as if is openly displayed through body language or verbal means. It refers to part of attitude which reflects the intention of a person in the short run or long run. Next, job involvement from an organization perspective refers to an energy involvement in producing a product for service. It has been regarded as the key to unlocking employee motivation and increasing productivity. Organizational commitment and identification with the goals and values of the organization and a willingness to display effort on behalf of the organization. Employee engagement. Employee engagement is based on trust, integrity, two-way commitment, and communication between an organization and its member. Attitudes and consistency. Attitude behavior consistency is when a person's attitude is consistent with their behavior. Cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance refers to situation involving opposite attitudes, belief, or behavior. This produces mental discomfort that leads to a change in one of attitudes, belief, or behavior to reduce discomfort and restore balance. Understanding attitudes. Satisfied employees have lower rates of turnover and absenteeism. Satisfied employees perform better on the job. Survey employees about their attitudes. And last, employees will try to reduce dissonance.
Now, 11.4. So, what in this topic? First, judges employers, and second, distorted attribution. On judging employers, there are one theory that we can learn that's named attribution theories. Basically, attribution theories mean it's that people know the reason for their action and others. There are two major theories of distribution, like dispositional attribution and situation attribution. For dispositional attribution means the cause of behavior, or it is something that is in a person, like personality. While situation attribution means it's something that happened outside the person, according to the situation, like culture shock. And for distorted attribution, they have two types, like fundamental attribution error and self-serving bias. From my understanding, fundamental attribution errors mean when someone pressure based on position and assigned tasks. Because of the environment, we more likely show the behavior of others because we more concerned with other attitude toward us and causing us to express our true feeling and attitude. For self-serving bias means we blame us for the failures because of the external factor. As example, as a teacher, when the student get a good grade and good result, the teacher will praise, wow, and I am the great teacher after all. But if the student get a poorly on the exam, the teacher will blame the student. So this is self-serving bias. Everyone has this facility in ourselves. If you have this bad attitude, never say loudly to others person because it might destroy other feelings. So that was for me. So we continue to my next member.
11.5 Social learning and shaping behavior. Almost all behavior is learned, so before we want to explain, predict, and influence behavior, we need to understand how people learn those behavior. Learning occurs all the time and can be defined as any relatively permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of experience. 2. Learning theories that help us understand how and why individual behavior occurs are operant conditioning and social learning. First is operant conditioning. Sometimes it referred to as instrumental conditioning. It is a method of learning that employs rewards and punishments of behavior. Through operant conditioning, an association is made between a behavior and a consequence, whether negative or positive, for that behavior. For example, when lab rat press a lever when a green light is on, they receive a food pellet as a reward. When they press the lever when the red light is on, they receive a mild electric shock. As a result, they learn how to press the lever when the green light is on and avoid the red light. Next is social learning. Social learning can be divided into 5 types, which is attention, retention, reproduction, motivation, and the last is reinforcement process. First is attention. In order to learn, observers must attend to the model behavior. Experimental studies have found that awareness of what is being learned and the mechanism of reinforcement greatly boosts learning outcomes. Attention is impacted by characteristics of the observer, for example, perceptual abilities, cognitive abilities, arousal and past performance, and characteristic of the behavior or event, for example, relevance, novelty, affective valence, and functional value. In this way, social factors contribute to attention. The prestige of different models affect the relevance and functional value of observation and therefore modulates attention. Next is retention. In order to reproduce and observe behavior, observer must be able to remember features of the behavior. Again, this process is influenced by observer characteristic, cognitive capabilities, cognitive rehearsal, and event characteristic, which is complexity. The cognitive process underlying retention are described by Bandura as visual and verbal, where verbal description of models are used in more complex scenarios. The third one is reproduction. By reproduction, Bandura refers not to the propagation of the model but the implementation of it. This requires a degree of cognitive skill and may in some cases require sensory-motor capabilities. Reproduction can be difficult because in the case of behaviors that are reinforced through self-observation, he sees improvement in sports. It can be difficult to observe behavior well. This can require the input of others to provide self-correcting feedback. Newer studies on feedback support this idea by suggesting effective feedback, which would help with observation and correction improves the performance on participant on task. Next is motivation. The decision to reproduce or refrain from reproducing and observed behavior is dependent on the motivation and expectations of the observer, including anticipated consequence and internal standards. Bandura's description of motivation is also fundamentally based on environmental and thus social factors, since motivational factors are driven by the functional value of different behaviors in a given environment. And the last one is reinforcement process. Individuals will be motivated to exhibit the model behavior if positive incentive or reward are provided. Behaviors that are reinforced will be given more attention, learn better, and perform more often. Next is shaping behavior. Shaping can also be defined as the procedure that involves reinforcing behaviors that are closer to the target behavior, also known as successive approximation. The concept was first developed and used by B.F. Skinner, who is known for his theories that involve learning behaviors through reinforcing. The theory involves reinforcing behavior that are successively closer and closer to the approximation of the desired or targeted behavior. The process of shaping is vital because it's not always likely that an organism should display the exact target behavior spontaneously. However, by reinforcing the behavior that is closer and closer to the desired behavior, the required behavior can be taught or learned. For instance, teaching new tricks to a dog, teaching a kid how to walk and the likes. The step-by-step procedure of reinforcing different behavior until the ultimate behavior is achieved is called successive approximation. Next is positive reinforcement. It occurs when a desirable event or stimulus is given as an outcome of a behavior and the behavior improves. A positive reinforcer is a stimulus event for which an individual will work in order to achieve it. For example, a company announces a reward program in which employees earn prize depending on the number of items they sold. Next is negative reinforcement. So it occurs when an aversive event or when a stimulus is removed or prevented from happening and the rate of behavior improves. A negative reinforcer is a stimulus, even for which an individual will work in order to terminate, to escape from, to postpone its occurrence. For example, a company has a policy that an employee can have a Saturday off only if he completes the assigned work by Friday. Punishment. The creation of some unpleasant condition to remove an undesirable behavior. For example, a teenager comes to home late and the parent takes away the privilege of using the cell phone. Next is extinction, the process of eradicating any type of reinforcement causing any undesirable behavior. For example, a child who crawls under the table to hide and seek attention gradually stop doing so when the attention is withdrawn. Shadows of reinforcement. So, the shadows of reinforcement can be of 5 types, which is continuous, fixed interval, variable interval, fixed ratio, and variable ratio. The first one is continuous. A schedule of reinforcement in which every occurrence of the desired outcome is followed by the one who is reinforces. For example, each time a child puts 1 ringgit in a candy machine and press the buttons, he receives a candy bar. Next is fixed interval. Conduct of reinforcement with intervals but sufficient enough to make the expected behavior worth repeating. For example, working of washing machine. Next is variable interval. Conduct of reinforcement with an average of an amount of time. For example, checking email or popping quizzes. Going fishing, we might catch a fish after 20 minutes. Next is fixed ratio. Oversight of reinforcement when rewards are spaced at uniform interval. For example, salary. And the last one is variable ratio. Oversight of reinforcement when rewards are spaced at unpredictable time interval. For example, commission in sales.
Okay, let's we go for the subtopic 11.6. The subtopic of 11.6 is about contemporary issues in organizational behavior. Contemporary issues in organizational behavior is about the problem that faced by the managers today In an employment organization, there are 5 main issues that always happen in an employment organization. Okay, first is about workforce diversity. Second is about workplace issues and challenges. Third is about organizational challenges. Fourth, global challenge. And last is environmental challenges. Okay, let's we check for one by one. Okay, for the first one is workforce diversity. Workforce diversity is about work with different people and they have a different attitude. Okay, these issues managers will deal with different people that it doesn't know about their attitude and bad life. Okay, for the second is workplace issues and challenges. Today, managers have begun to disturb with employees' personal life. Employees' privacy is an important thing to take care of. As a manager, this issue must to take seriously because to take care of the feeling all of the employees. These issues can cause controversy between employers and employees. Okay, for the other issues is organizational challenges that managers must to improve the quality and productivity. It is because has another company and this is a competition. To achieve this goal, managers implement programs such as total quality management. Total quality management is a management philosophy to achieve customer goal satisfaction. Okay, for the fourth is global challenges is the another contemporary issues that must faced by today's manager. It is can be related with managing global environment, and it is because the manager have to deal with unknown laws, unknown language, unknown attitude, unknown management style, and various ethics and the others. Okay, for the lastly is environmental challenges. It is exists in the external environment and organization must adapt through continuous interaction with the environment. In addition, organization must understand their responsibility to the environmental. Okay, that's all from me. As a conclusion, in this chapter we have reviewed the basic motivation theories that have been developed to explain motivated behavior. Several theories view motivated behavior as attempts to satisfy needs. Based on this approach, managers would benefit from understanding what people need so that the action of employees can be understood and managed. Other theories explain motivated behavior using the cognitive processes of employees, and employees respond to unfairness in their environment. They learn from the consequences of their actions and repeat the behavior that lead to positive results. And they are motivated to exert effort if they see their actions will lead to outcomes that will give them desired rewards. None of these theories are complete on their own, but each theory provides us with framework we can use to analyze and manage employee behaviors in the workplace. That's all for conclusion. Thank you.